Welcome back to the shop. I'm Jeff from Today's Craftsman, and this week we have the conclusion to this 3-week HDF cabinet build, and we're going to give you the first look before we send this off to the client tomorrow.
Promotional support for this episode is provided by Titan, a leader in spraying technology. For 50 years, Titan has been providing innovative solutions that real contractors need. For more information, visit titantool.com.
So the upper cabinets on this job are really the showstopper, but we're going to save those for last. We'll start here at the base. So you saw these in the first episode. We have these little base cabinets that have a beverage cooler in the center. So you see here we have our rollouts. Our doors are all painted. This is a paint called, or a color called Pale Oak by Benjamin Moore. And we have our birch rollouts here on our Progressa slides and the Salice hinges. So 2 cabinets flanking a bev cooler, and here's our panel all painted up for the bev cooler. So this groove design came out really nice. I'm a fan. You know, I could think of a couple ways to make it easier in the future, but worked out well. We can add that to the design playbook. We have our removable toe kicks down here, so we're using the Hafele Axillo, which is what we use on all of our cabinets, and these are clipped on. So we have these little clips that have a little bit of side-to-side play, and they clip right up here to these legs, which are typically all black, but you see we have some overspray here. We sprayed the face and the side of these cabinets. So the legs are adjustable with this tool. It interfaces with the foot, and you can turn it to adjust, and you can turn it from the front to adjust the back, which is super handy. And if you get good enough, you can get in there without looking. I missed the first time, but so we have this nice clip-on toe, so they'll be able to scribe this and just clip it in. So really nice here on the base. Maybe we'll take you over and take a look at the countertop. Give you a quick look at the top here. So this is our double 3/4 HDF top. We have the paintable PVC edge banding. So super simple, just a flat top, and it'll be covered up about halfway by the upper cabinets. And we have some other parts back here. So we have our end panel. So this is an 1.5-inch end panel that will cap the left-hand side cabinet. So this is the outside. Again, you'll see about half of it. And we have our filler here. So just an L-shaped filler that goes to the floor. That'll go on the right-hand side of the right cabinet. But let's take a look at the upper, because that's what's really interesting about this project. So here's our upper cabinet. You see 3 inset doors. We have that cherry face frame, HDF doors, 1 piece. So these are just routed out with burlap panels. We have a painted interior, so this was all flat finished. And we have our brass grommets in there. You see how we did this frame is we actually made 2 of these HDF frames. So we cut those on the laser, and the burlap is wrapped over the face of one, and then we have another on top, and then it's screwed into this routed out rabbet in the door. We have push to open hardware from Salice. So push to close, push to open, and they spring open with these hinges. This is a little bit off kilter, so it's not opening all the way right now, but the hinges are actually spring loaded, so they're always under pressure. When this magnet releases, it opens the door up.
I'm going to walk around this way so I can get a better shot.
So it's definitely a very unique look. This was designed by Toledo Geller, which is the designer that we're working with on this project. And this was their idea. It's for the Femme den, so it's a feminine den. If you're you know, seeing the whole vibe of the thing, you know, it's like a game room. So the diamond motif fits. There's like a lot of leopard print and stuff in this room, so it should be cool.
I think the inserts are a really nice touch. It just so much nicer than just a hole that's been drilled in the side of the cabinet.
Yeah. So we antique those a little bit, and they'll continue to antique. You know, we didn't want that bright yellow brass. So you see they're a little bit more towards like a bronze kind of color, you know, to go with these antique brass screws. And the hardware on the base cabinets will be antique brass and Amazonite. Those are provided by the designer, and they'll be installing those on site. We're not doing the install on this, thankfully. We said we would build it, but they're handling install. So
I see a jig over there for the diamonds on the back of the door. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
And maybe just talk a little bit more about this this piece that you cut on the laser.
yeah, definitely. This is the jig that we used to route these out. So this actually slipped over the door, or I'm sorry, this the door sat on top of this because we used a bottom bearing bit. So I cut this out on the laser. This is the exact size of the door. So the door sat on top, got clamped. We have these spacers here, so we have room for our bit to stick out, and drilled a little hole. The bearing referenced here, we're just able to cut it out. And then we actually left it on this and used a rabbiting bit, the same bit that we showed on the shaper last week. We used that to cut a 3/4 by 5/16 rabbet here. You know, we didn't want to go too deep. I don't like when this flat is really skinny, so we left this 7/16. I think it gives a nice depth. Any less and it makes the door appear thin because you're only seeing the face of it. So we're in 5/16 and 3/4 of an inch wide, and then we were able to create these frames on the laser.
When you cut out the diamond, did you rough cut it first, or did you just plunge in and cut it out?
Just plunged in and cut it out. You know, it could be a big cut, but you know, those 1/4 inch bits are pretty strong. We use the Bits and Bits, a brand new compression bit, and you know, we do that all the time, and it works.
When it drops, there's no tear out or anything at the one area where it's going to drop?
We put some blocks in the center so that when the cut was finished, that piece doesn't drop in, because yeah, you could get a tear, you know, it'll break loose before you're fully through the cut and actually like rip a piece off of the face. So we had some 3/4 inch blocks in the center, just loose, to hold up the middle when it got cut through. I just pulled this out of the dumpster. This is one of our test runs for the frame, so you can see. That's what we have there. This is fresh off of the laser. So see our lines here where it was sitting down on the bed. Have like a little bit of soot that gets deposited there. But this is just a 1/4 inch HDF. We pre-drilled all of our holes on the laser, or cut these holes with the laser. Then we were able to just sand a little bit and paint. You know, you can imagine the work it would take to create 6 of these without a laser. So it's a huge time saver. We created our template and we created our frames all on the laser. No laying out this diamond, trying to get perfect radiuses here. It's all done very easily just by drawing it and sending it to the laser. We're excited to see this leave the shop and get installed into Mansion in May. So if you're interested in seeing finished shots, definitely follow Mansion in May and Toledo and Geller, as well as Today's Craftsman on Instagram. And let us know if you enjoyed this series. So taking you through multiple episodes from start to finish, seeing it, you know, from unpainted, just rough parts, to the finished product. If you liked it, let us know. Be sure to leave a comment. We'll talk to you next week. I forget everything that I said, but
I'm wrong.
Welcome back to the shop. I'm Jeff from Today's Craftsman, and this week we have the conclusion to this HDF cabinet build. So we're sending this off to the client, and you're...
Lighting's better here. And then look towards me. Yeah. Can you make your eyes even bigger?
I don't have the biggest eyes. Oh my God.
All right, cool.